Good evening and welcome to Kini News. The district of Seremban in Negeri Sembilan will be placed under the conditional movement control order from the 5th of November until the 18th of November.
Senior Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob has announced that the Seremban district in Negeri Sembilan will be placed under the conditional movement control order.
Selepas mendapat nasihat daripada KKM dan mengambil kira peningkatan kes COVID-19 di daerah ini, maka sidang khas MKN hari ini bersetuju untuk melaksanakan Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan Bersyarat PKPB di daerah Seremban berkuat kuasa pada 5 November 2020 sehingga 18 November 2020. Pelaksanaan PKPB ini akan meliputi 9 mukim seperti berikut: Ampangan, Seremban, Bandar Seremban, Labu, Rantau, Rasah, Setul, Pantai dan Lenggeng.
Ismail said the same standard operating procedures as other CMCO areas will be applied. He said the National Security Council was aware that there are people living in the affected district but working in the Klang Valley, and these workers can still leave for work as long as they have obtained the necessary documentation from their workplace and from the police. He added that the enhanced movement control order for several areas in Putra Point in Nilai will continue as usual.
The Dewan Rakyat sitting will be held for half day beginning today until Thursday.
The rest of this week's Parliament sittings will be cut short to 1 p.m. following COVID-19 fears that had also prompted an early end to yesterday's session. De facto Law Minister Taqiyuddin Hassan, who proposed the motion, said the decision to end the sittings at 1 p.m. was in accordance with Standing Order 12(1). The motion was passed after a voice vote called by Dewan Rakyat Speaker Azhar Azizan Harun this morning. Azhar had also clarified that a Dewan Negara staff and an auxiliary policeman who tested positive had not been in Parliament since receiving the results.
Laporan semalam tu yang mengatakan polis bantuan kita tu mendapat COVID tu sebenarnya tak benar, bukan polis bantuan kita sebenarnya. Polis bantuan yang berkhidmat di tempat lain. Dewan Negara tu bukan staf Dewan Negara. Dia ialah staf kepada seorang senator Dewan Negara yang datang membuat testing pada hari Rabu kerana mungkin senator tersebut dan stafnya hendak menghadiri belanjawan kita hari Jumaat ni. So mereka datang buat testing dan didapati bahawa mereka positif. Tapi mereka tidak datang ke Parlimen hari-hari dan berlega-lega di kawasan Parlimen. Jadi itu bukan kesnya.
Earlier, several members of the House reacted to the motion and had requested for the Speaker to explain the status of several Parliament staff who was reported to have been tested positive for COVID-19. This came following reports that 7 individuals had tested positive from a screening done before the parliamentary sitting on Monday. Yesterday, Health Ministry Director General Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said that the Health Ministry would consider conducting COVID-19 testings every 2 weeks to detect any carriers of the virus, as the current Parliament would be in session for 6 weeks.
Pasir Putih MP Nik Muhammad Zawahwi apologized today in the Dewan Rakyat for remarks he made on the Bible during a debate in the last Parliament sitting.
Pasir Putih MP Nik Muhammad Zawahwi has apologized for his remarks that the Christian Bible was distorted on the issue of alcohol consumption. Zawahwi had made the initial remarks during the last Parliament sitting in his debate on the amendments to the Road Transport Act 1987 to increase the penalty for driving under the influence.
Jadi saya mohon maaf sekiranya ada yang terguris kerana saya tidak berniat begitu. Apa yang saya niat iaitulah nak pertahankan kitab Injil yang asal yang diturunkan kepada Nabi Allah Isa alaihissalam tanpa sebarang perubahan. Menyebabkan saya pertahankan benda ini.
Zawahwi's apology was issued in response to an order by Dewan Rakyat Speaker Azhar Azizan Harun. Earlier, Azhar had ordered for Zawahwi to apologize and retract the words to preserve the harmony amongst the multicultural community in Malaysia. The ruling today was made in response to Bandar Kuching MP Dr. Kelvin Yee, who had demanded an explanation from Zawahwi in the Dewan Rakyat this session following his initial refusals. In his initial remarks, Zawahwi had claimed that the government's proposed amendments should not be seen as a religious issue, because no religion, including Christianity, allows its followers to drink alcohol. This had prompted a rebuttal from Berwas MP Ngeh Koo Ham, who said consumption of alcohol is permissible in moderation. But Zawahwi had argued that it was based on teachings from a distorted Bible.
Former UMNO Supreme Council member Lokman Nur Adam, who was arrested on Sunday, has now been released on police bail.
Former UMNO Supreme Council member Lokman Nur Adam, who was arrested last Sunday for allegedly issuing a seditious statement, has been released on police bail. According to Bernama, Bukit Aman CID Deputy Director Mio Faridallah Trash Wahid said that Lokman was released yesterday, and police are completing the investigation paper on the case to be sent to the Attorney General's chambers for further action. On Sunday, Lokman was arrested by a police team at a restaurant near the Putra World Trade Center at around 11 p.m, while he was broadcasting a talk about Budget 2021 via Facebook Live. He was remanded yesterday to facilitate a probe into criminal intimidation against the Prime Minister. In a statement, Bukit Aman CID Director Huizir Mohamad had said that the investigation followed a police report against Lokman for uploading a video via Facebook which had elements of intimidating and using explicit words against the leadership of the Prime Minister.
The Health Ministry has reported 1,054 new COVID-19 cases and a record-setting 12 deaths today.
Malaysia recorded 1,054 new COVID-19 cases. 14 cases were imported, involving 4 cases of travel from South Korea, 2 each from Japan and the Philippines, and 1 each from Uzbekistan, China, Hong Kong, Nepal, the United Kingdom, and Maldives. Of the remaining 1,040 local cases, Sabah continued to report the highest number of new cases, with 678. This was followed by Selangor with 124 cases, and Labuan with 81. Negeri Sembilan reported 71 cases, and Penang had 35. 7 cases also involved recent travel to Sabah. With this, the cumulative cases related to travel to Sabah has reached 478. 94 COVID-19 patients are currently in the intensive care unit, with 32 requiring respiratory assistance. Health Director General Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said 12 deaths were reported today, bringing the total number of deaths attributed to the coronavirus to 263. This is the highest record for deaths in a day. All 12 were reported in Sabah. The reported deaths range from as young as 14 to as old as 82. 4 of the victims were foreigners.
Coming up next, a manhunt has been launched in Austria after gunmen opened fire at 6 locations across central Vienna on Monday. All that and more after this. Welcome back. A manhunt is now underway in Vienna as police are hunting for gunmen who killed at least 2 people in what the government has called a terrorist attack in the Austrian capital.
A manhunt is underway for several suspected perpetrators of what the Austrian government is calling a terror attack after gunmen attacked 6 locations in central Vienna on Monday, starting outside the main synagogue, killing 2 people and injuring at least 14 others. Austria's chancellor said on Twitter that police will take decisive action against the perpetrators of this hideous terrorist attack. The country's interior minister said the attackers were heavily armed and dangerous. Police sealed off much of the historic center of Vienna, urging the public to shelter in place. Many had sought refuge in bars and hotels, while public transport throughout the old town was shut down. Police also said that they had shot and killed one of the attackers. Authorities give no indication of the identity of the assailants or reason for the attack. Jewish community leader Oskar Deutsch said on Twitter that it was not clear whether the Vienna synagogue and adjoining offices had been the target of the Vienna attack and said that they were closed at the time. In recent years, Austria has been spared the sort of large-scale attacks seen in Paris, Berlin and London. Condolences poured in from around the world with top officials from the European Union, France, Norway, Greece and the United States expressing their shocks at the attacks. President Emmanuel Macron of France, which has seen 2 deadly knife attacks in Paris and Nice in recent weeks, issued a statement expressing shock and sorrow.
At least 22 students have been killed at Kabul University in Afghanistan as gunmen stormed the campus.
Gunmen barged into Kabul University on Monday, killing students in their classrooms and firing on others as they fled, officials and witnesses said, in what was the second attack on an educational institution in the capital in just over a week. The Health Ministry said 3 attackers killed at least 22 people, including students, and wounded 22 others before Afghan security forces shot the gunmen dead.
We saw them when they entered the university. They were shooting at every student they saw, and they even shot at students who were running away. A number of my friends and I managed to leave the scene through the university's other gate.
The attack was claimed by Islamic State, the jihadist group's Amaq news agency said. Amaq said the gunmen targeted a gathering being held to mark the completion of a training course at the university. Taliban insurgents had issued a statement condemning the latest attack and denying any involvement. Violence has plagued Afghanistan while government and Taliban negotiators have been meeting in Qatar to try to broker a peace deal, and as the United States brings home its troops. In a post on Twitter, the presidential palace announced a day of mourning on Tuesday, for which the Afghan flag will fly at half-mast in the country and at its diplomatic missions around the world.
Several countries in Central America evacuated their citizens as Hurricane Eta barreled closer to the Atlantic coast.
Nicaragua scrambled to evacuate citizens from its Atlantic coast or put them in shelters as Hurricane Eta barreled closer. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said water levels may reach up to 18 feet above normal tide and winds could hit speeds of up to 160 miles per hour. Describing it as a major hurricane, the NHC said Eta's rains may cause life-threatening storm surge, catastrophic winds, flash flooding, and landslides in parts of Central America. Jamaica, southern Haiti, the Cayman Islands, El Salvador, and southern Mexico may also be hit. Eta was poised to be one of the most powerful hurricanes to hit Nicaragua in years. As of Monday afternoon, around 3,000 families on Nicaragua's Atlantic coast had been evacuated. Supplies had also been sent out to help residents prepare for Eta's impact, according to the country's vice president. Meanwhile, in Honduras, authorities say the government has issued the highest level red alert on the coast, and evacuations were underway as several towns began flooding. The NHC expects the storm to weaken once it crashes into the mountains of Central America. Eta is now the 28th named tropical storm of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season, tying with the all-time record set in 2005.
And that's all the time there is tonight. For more stories, go to KiniTV.com. Don't forget that you can also get the latest from us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Don't forget that when you go out, please wear your face mask and observe social distancing. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe, Malaysia.